Well, it looks like the Warriors have found Steph a new buddy rather quickly. Buddy Hield to the Warriors with the last part of the trade exception. Now, I was trying to be patient and wait for the deal to officially go through. I don't want to jinx anything, but it sounds like it's going to be perhaps some second round picks. And I'm not sure there'll be a player involved headed back to the Sixers who are still trying to fill out their roster and manage their cap situation. But hey, man, yeah, that's why you got to wait for the dust to settle. And the dust still hasn't fully settled. But the Warriors and Mike Dunleavy continuing to make some solid moves around the edge of the roster, now adding the 31-year-old Buddy Hield. Are we sure he's 31? Do y'all remember that in Sacramento when it was like, he's actually 26? Like, because he is from the Bahamas. I don't know if it was a green card thing or a birth certificate thing, but Buddy was actually older than he first was listed at his first couple years in Sacramento. But he's 31 years old, according to the record. And objectively speaking, after Steph and Clay, has been the most prolific three-point shooter in the league during his career. And the thing is, he does it off movement and he does it from deep range, right? There's all sorts of context to a guy shooting 40% from three or shooting a lot of threes. When you actually watch it, sometimes it's only in the corner. It's only at the top of the, right? There's very specific surroundings to a lot of these shooters. Buddy, like Steph, like Clay, it's from anywhere and everywhere behind the arc. I don't want to come off as being disrespectful to Clay, especially right now. So I wouldn't say that Buddy's a better shooter than Clay. Big picture, their career and all that. But right now, post-injury, you could probably say Buddy is a better shooter than Clay currently today. Now, he doesn't have that size. He's 6'4", right? He can't just shoot with a guy draped all over him like Clay can. And I know the focus is, well, you just plug him into some of those Clay minutes and you run all the same sets. He's going to create all the same gravity. Yeah, on paper and in theory, very much so. But I think what is maybe even more intriguing and exciting is maybe you can rest Steph more. What is Steph going to be, 35, 6, right? He's getting up there, the ageless man, still in his prime. But, that was an issue this year. Steph came out the gate like gangbusters, and I had cautioned to y'all like, hey, dude, this isn't sustainable. I know it's fun to watch, and then sure enough, we found that out as the season went on. And so not just plugging Buddy into Clay's sets, plugging him into Steph's sets and allowing Steph to rest more, or even just in the game, not having to constantly use Steph's gravity to spring open plays. Now, Buddy, granted, no one has the same gravity as Steph Curry, but it's in the same realm, right? The defenses are still going to have to react, and it's still going to spread them apart. Pause. Now, on the other side of the floor, let's be honest, Buddy leaves a lot to be desired on the defensive end. That's always been the case. But it's always been the case that, hey, he's such a prolific three-point shooter and spacer that teams were willing to live with that, right? Did you see Buddy in his first playoff appearance? All these years in the league, and Buddy's first playoffs was this season, playing for the Sixers in that Knicks series. And Doc Rivers went to him too late. For whatever reason, he benched him. And he wasn't playing. And then was it the game 5 or 6? It was one of the final games in the series where it was really too little too late for the Sixers. He gets in there and he goes off. He has like 16 points in a quarter. He has that nuclear capacity to hit 4 or 5 threes. He's an insatiable shooter, as you can see by the numbers. But what stuck out to me and what kind of I got a kick out of was, all of a sudden, Buddy was hitting the floor for 50-50 balls. He was down in his stance, and he was all over his man defensively. And I was like, Buddy Love, where has this been your whole career, my guy? Where has this been your whole career? But to be fair to Buddy, he's never played in high-stakes games, unfortunately. And then you could look at that as an indictment on his value to winning, but he hasn't been on great teams and he hasn't been in the playoffs yet. But in that moment where he was desperate to get on the floor and the Sixers were desperate, he showed physically that, hey, he can hold up defensively. The Warriors aren't going to ask him to be a stopper. What they're going to ask him to do is hold the integrity of the defense. Don't blow your assignment, right? Stay in the fight, as JJ Redick likes to say. And he's more than capable of that. 6'4", 220 pounds. Like, he's a really strong athlete. He's strong. The quickness, verticality, length. I'm not saying that he's above average there, but it's not one of these things where it's like physically he can't move laterally and like it's just a lost cause. It's just not been part of his game and his mentality. And again, the Warriors, they're not going to be like, hey, you're our point of attack defender. Just don't blow the switches, rotate properly, right? And try to stay in front of your man until the help can rotate over. And then on the other end, we already know the juice is well worth the squeeze. But again, I recorded this before the trade has been made official. So I don't know, maybe what is GP2 getting sent back there? I don't know. You never know, because it seems like this is all part of a bigger scheme of things that's happening, right? Because you say, okay, Buddy's in there now, all of a sudden, we are overloaded in the backcourt again. Melton, Moody, Buddy, Pods, Reese Beekman. Looks like he's going to make the roster, at least as a two-way. And I think we're all anticipating this is setting up for the big move that everybody wants, right? And so again, I don't know the official details of the Buddy Hield trade as I record this, but it sounds like it's getting done. Fingers crossed. I wanted to bring up a question my guy Luke asked me on Twitter. He said, hey, Alk, would you rather have to trade Kuminga to land Markkanen or keep Kuminga and get Brandon Ingram? And as I thought about the question, I have a question for the audience. You guys know I'm not a cap guy. I'm not a numbers guy. I'm an eye test, feel, psychological evaluator, if you will. Are we going to be able to keep Kuminga regardless? Like, let's just say it's a huge win. It gets announced. The Warriors trade for Lauri Markkanen. Lowry. I'll learn it once he's a Warrior. Markkanen. And they gave up, 3 first-round picks, Moody, Podziemski, whatever, and they kept Kuminga. And we're all celebrating, right? Can they extend both Markkanen and Kuminga? And I proposed the same question. Let's say they get Ingram on the cheap. Can you extend Ingram and Kuminga? I don't know. That just dawned on me. That's kind of the sticking point. We all want to keep JK. Can we afford to keep him anyway? Does Utah want to extend JK? Is it a sticking point in the conversation, or do they just want Steph Curry's unborn child? I don't know. There were other moves. There were 2 moves that won't make headlines, but, the hardcore fans, Dub Nation knows how important this is. We've added to the bench. First off, Kenny Atkinson, the new Cleveland Cavalier head coach. You wonder if before he took that job, if he knew Donovan Mitchell was re-signing. And I don't want to get, caught off in talking about the Cavs, but does that mean Garland's moving? I don't know. But anyway, Kenny Atkinson out as the Warriors assistant coach about a week ago. Congratulations to him getting another opportunity. It wasn't a great fit. I think that he and Steve were too alike. I don't think they had the ability to play good cop, bad cop. And the truth of the matter is, you see it so much in the NFL, right? Where a guy's a great offensive coordinator, but then he's not a good head coach. Or a good head coach doesn't necessarily make a good coordinator. I think Kenny's better suited as the lead guy. I think he struggled a little bit as the assistant coach. So the Warriors bring in Terry Stotts. You want to talk about an OG, right? What did he coach? 10 years in Portland with Dame? That's where you probably know him. He was last seen in Milwaukee as the lead assistant coach to Adrian Griffin, the newly hired Adrian Griffin. And word is, in training camp, they had like a little dispute about something, and he was like, all right, peace, deuce. Like, I don't need this. I'm not listening to you, bro. And I like that Stouts is someone is going to stand on business. He's going to voice an opinion. He's not afraid to, and he's going to stand on it. And I think that that's what the coaching staff needs. I think the other funny tidbit that came out of this news was, well, the Lakers have tried to hire Stouts 3 times now. And he's like, thanks, but no thanks, right? Because he probably knows that when he speaks up in a LeBron-led organization, what's the point? So I think it's a good sign they bring in a vet guy who, again, I don't think is afraid to push back at Kerr or have a contrasting voice to Steve. But then they're not done, They add Jerry Stackhouse to the staff. Now, Stack, you can go look up the stories, is a known goon, a known OG, a former all-star, a dude that just loves the game. And the comp that I'll give you is, I think he's going to give the Warriors a presence like David West. That type of OG status, like where he speaks, you listen, period. Fiery personality, and again, not afraid to push back, and we know he's going to stand on business. And so I think those are two huge additions to the bench to shake things up. And now, without Chris Paul and Klay Thompson on the roster, two players that I think we all agree had to be tippy-toed around at times because of sensitive situations and egos. They all have egos, I get it, but those two in particular probably, they made things interesting. I'll leave it at that. With them two gone, I'm really curious and excited to see the new vibes as this team gets built out now under Mike Dunleavy. Using the same term as the dust settles here on the Klay news and the reporting that's going to continue to come out about it, Draymond's podcast. It's come out that both Klay and Draymond were upset that Poole and Wiggins got the extensions instead of them or before them, right? And, hindsight is 2020. Let's not sit here and act like Dub Nation, we all didn't think that was the right move at the time. Because I know I did. And then, but you can't be afraid to say, I was wrong. That was a mistake. Mistakes happen, right? These things happen. So I know now people are like, yeah, I get it. Klay was mad. They played Poole Wiggins. At the time, I think the majority of the fan base and just the NBA was like, yeah, that's the right move. You're coming off a chip. You secure the long-term future of your young guys. I get them feeling that way. I'm not saying they shouldn't have felt that way. I'm just saying, let's not have a revisionist history of how we felt. Because I think most of us was like, yeah, that's the move. That's the move. Turned out it wasn't. Quick little side thought here on Bronny James. And what did he get, an $8 million deal? Look, man, I don't want to hate on the kid. I just think the Lakers are delivering the wrong message. Because they're coming out and saying, oh, Bronny has earned this. He has earned this, right? Don't tell us that. Don't tell us that. Tell us that you really like his potential and that he's going to get the opportunity to prove the haters wrong. Something along those lines. Don't sit here and tell us he's earned that. But, hey, it's the Lakers. They do what they want. And their fan base right now, it's funny how it goes, right? Because before all these moves started to line up here for Dunleavy and us, everybody was killing him. Now you hear the Lakers killing Pelinka because they've yet to make a move, but just bring everyone back. Sounds like they want to get rid of D'Lo. But yeah, man, the marketing move, and Luke, to answer your question, I don't know. I'm on the fence. I know that there's a good portion of the fan base that's like, you're out of your mind if you want to hold on to Kuminga and not do this, right? I don't think it's that decisive of a decision. I really don't. And what I'd bring up about Lauri is not to rain on this parade or kill the hype. Lauri has averaged 57 games a year in his career. He has also never seen a playoffs. And so while on paper and statistically, I know it's the perfect fit at the perfect time, Lauri, for as long as he's been in the league, is relatively unproven in meaningful games and hasn't exactly been a pillar of durability. So, I don't want to get caught up in chasing the trade so much in the excitement of it that you lose sight of, hey, give any and everything up for it. It's not Lauri Markkanen is not a guaranteed trip to the Western Conference Finals. And so the negotiations will continue and we'll see how it plays out. But you capologists, can we acquire another big money player and then still extend Kuminga? That would be my question right now. I'll be back with another one as the news keeps rolling in. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.